From the Philippines, Jr.Mendoza. And now please welcome his opponent from India, Faizan Anwar. Presents 6 3-minute rounds in the welterweight division. Your referee in charge of the action, Francisco Alonso Rosa. And in the red corner, wearing the blue shorts, weighing in at 69 kilograms. Tonight he enters the ring for the 31st time as a professional. From Tanza, Philippines, Jr.Mendoza. And his opponent fighting at the blue corner, wearing the black shorts with the gold trim, weighing in at 69 kilograms. He is undefeated with a record of 4 wins. 4 of those wins coming by way of knockout. From Kalokota, India, Faizan Anwar.
Well, the first thing to note is, of course, the size difference between these two. Of very significantly different dimensions. Much taller Anwar. But up against the most experienced opponent that he's faced so far. And tonight we get a glimpse at a little something about whether the power's real. Not many knockout Jr.Mendoza, only 3 so far in his 30 fights. It's a good stiff jab and positive start from Anwar.
Yeah, he throws that left hand quite crisp as well, doesn't he, Anwar? There it is again there. You can see it nice. You can see where, if he does get the stoppage, this is probably from that shot. It's really right nice and straight, right on the line, right through the guard.
Yeah, he was sharp. Barry saw him in this venue back in March. He stopped Gideon Agbosu in 5 rounds. The Ghanaian actually has been on a bit of a spree of defeats, and he's been stopped in 2 of his last 3. So perhaps that was an obvious result. But he's looking sharp. There's a little bit of purpose to everything he does,
and busy as well. Not giving Mendoza here much of a rest, even though Mendoza's not doing a lot, not giving him much of a rest, always on him. Again, that good left hand through the guard. That's good, nice and neat as well, isn't he here, Anwar?
Look how stocky and muscular and broad he is, Mendoza. He's giving up significant advantages in height and reach, and Anwar's making all of that come to bear. He's thinking about what's coming back too, though. Missed by a mile there, Mendoza, didn't he? A little roll of the shoulders just to loosen himself up.
He gets away with it because he throws that looping shot where normally, or if you're really confident like Anwar is, you roll underneath that and come back with your own shot. But because he's so short, Mendoza, you have to take a step back. You can't tip low enough to get underneath his shots, pretty much.
I must admit, I liked the look of him when I saw him go about his business back in March. But you were just wondering, did he look better than he is because of maybe the lack of strength of opposition? But you can see he does plenty of good things, Anwar. It's been a positive start to this round.
Hey, listen, he's having everything his own way, but he looks nice and neat. I think he's busy with his work as well. Not give this guy a second's rest, is he? It's good first round upstairs and whipped on a hook to the body. So he's thinking as he's throwing, and that shows a good intelligence.
Anwar taking control at the start of this second round.
I like him. It's a massive test of weight, but for how young he is, that usually when you're young, you got to rush everything. You want to impress, and because you're fast, you end up wanting to be even faster. But he's controlled in his work.
As you say, young, only 19.
Yeah, exactly.
Anwar. There's a composure beyond those years. I like the fact that even although he's very, very positive front foot throwing combinations, quite a high guard too, and he's thinking about his defence all the time while he's throwing those shots so far.
And he's trying to place those shots. So we spoke in the fight earlier about looking for that perfect gap and the perfect shot all the time. It can mean you don't do enough work, but he's looking for clean shots. He's looking to place his punches in the correct place. He's also happy to keep busy. Sometimes you've got to engineer those gaps.
He's working the head and body too, Barry. The right hooks up and downstairs working particularly well for Anwar. There he goes again, dipping that in under the left elbow of Mendoza.
Mendoza got the look about him. He's just going to kick Anwar, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does the shorts and everything. So he's just going to
he'd
kick him in the thigh or something.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he could be a Thai kickboxer, doesn't he? He's got the shorts and everything. He's got the physique for sure.
And the tree trunks as well for legs.
And alongside that, he's looked like he can take the punishment so far, but he is being broken down bit by bit, and it's very early on too, coming to the end of the second.
It's good sustained pressure here and educated pressure here as well from Anwar. I think he's looked fantastic for me so far. Constantly looking to change the angle of the punches as well, but always thinking. Okay, let's be honest. Mendoza, is almost like a human punch bag, and he's not doing much. He's not throwing back, and when he does, it's quite easy to read. But he's still got to find the gaps. Just to the side of the glove, and then throwing that left hand right down the gap. And again, he's adjusting the feet, so he's always safe. When you look at the throw back, it's been quite a thought-out performance from him so far.
And I suppose the only thing he's had to think about so far has been that sort of right hand, and Mendoza kind of exploding into it. He's not tried to throw back when Anwar's been putting together the combinations so far. Mendoza, he's been happy to cover up. I wonder if he's got a response. People talk about southpaws, Barry, but you happily watch this guy, I think, as a fight fan.
Yeah, southpaws are nice to watch, just not nice to fight against. It's good work. Again, and he doesn't get it. He's close now, but for the most part, when he's throwing those shots, he's not getting too close. He's only edging close, so he's not taking a two-step and then smothering his work. See the correct shot there, turn it from the waist to make sure there's full extension there on that left hand.
And speaking of southpaws, Barry, we should pay tribute to Alan Minter, whose funeral was in the UK earlier on today, of course. One of Britain's stars of the past, a middleweight world champion, Olympic medalist in his time as well.
Just a great fighter, really. And even though he's one of our very best undisputed middleweight champion of the world, still I feel underrated. I think people forget how good he was to win a medal in the Olympics. Is just a fantastic, but he just came across a great in Marvin Hagler. That was his only mistake. That's all he had. And some of the wars he had with Finnegan are British classics, of course. And luckily for YouTube, accessible to everybody.
Go and have a look at that, folks, if you and when you have a spare moment. Alan Minter, whose funeral it was earlier on today. Here in Dubai, first moment of success, I think, for Jr.Mendoza. With that to right hand, and if there was to be a punch that would work for him, that's the only one really that we've seen any glimpse of so far through the first 2.5 or so rounds.
For what you've seen so far, he's only getting success if Anwar switches off. That's what it looks like up to this point, unless he can do something dramatically different, but it looks like he's only looking to fire back when there's a bit of peace. But with Anwar, even when it's not heavy work, it's always constant work with him, isn't there? And if he's just touching you with that jab, that's better there for Mendoza. Yeah, the left hand. Then he moves. He doesn't go straight after it, like a lot of the young fighters just rush their work. They throw the shot. They're already doing the next move before the punch is thrown, finished to be thrown. So he's throwing it, seeing what the reaction it has. Then he's taking a little step forward and going again, and that's why it's been hard for Mendoza to counter, because he hasn't been given the distance that he wants to throw. He's always in a distance too far away for him.
Solid spearing left hand through the guard there for Anwar, just as he'd been clipped briefly by a left hook. First time we've seen that shot thrown by Mendoza. Pretty tough, isn't he, Mendoza? You can see why he's not often been stopped, but you sort of feel if Anwar could maintain the pressure, the pace, the rhythm that he's applied so far.
Well, I don't think Anwar's a big puncher. He's a correct puncher. That's why why he stops people, why he will stop more people, because he punches through the guard. The technique's pretty good, and he's relentless as well. He's always on you with the front foot. But I think for someone like Mendoza, it has to be a naturally heavy-handed guy, I think. Body shot.
Clipped him with the right hand as well. Yeah, I think it's about 7 or 8 years ago he was stopped in a round, but otherwise he's been difficult to budge since, and you can see how solid he looks and has been so far.
Lovely footwork there from Anwar. Just a little half step back there before he threw that uppercut. Really good work.
A little smile as well from Mendoza. He kind of knew he'd been fooled there.
Again there with that left uppercut, Anwar.
Maybe just a little bit of the pace, the sharpness come out of Anwar's punches, maybe just a touch.
There's a little bit less snap in the shots, but it's easy enough to work so far for him. But again, those surprise attacks are not really a surprise for him. So if Mendoza wants to be competitive now in these last couple of rounds, he needs to find a different tact or be a little bit more forceful when he does commit himself. But you can't see, to be honest. I think the pattern is pretty much set. Nice.
And when you're in a fight like this, Barry, that you're in control of as a young prospect, does it say something now about how you kind of finish the fight? Does it say something about your ambition or what?
It doesn't say about your ambition. I think it depends. Knowing your strengths. I think if you fancy yourself as a puncher, then I think it's knowing when to go for it. I think that can sometimes show what level or how good you're going to be. Knowing when you have a feeling when a guy's hurt, not knowing to engage. Doesn't mean you won't get to a decent level, but sometimes you tend to think that killer instinct or that lack of knowing awareness.
But I suppose also the sensibility and pragmatism of risk and reward, knowing.
Yeah, of course. Well, look at me. I know I couldn't punch, so I didn't ever over try and exert myself. Because unless the guy was literally falling over, which never happened, unfortunately, then why would I commit myself and risk the guy hurting me? So you're always thinking, do what you're good at and make sure you're winning. Stick to your strengths, and I think that's a good discipline to have. But also, and with great fighters, they know when to take that educated risk. But I think it's been a lovely controlled display from him. Really, for his age, the display belies how young he is. I think he's been fantastic for a young man. It's a good display for anyone. I think it's good for just having his fifth fight. But for a 19-year-old having his fifth fight, most 19-year-olds would have been rushing their work. This would have been a scrappy affair. He would have been trying to get Mendoza out of there from the second round on, to be honest. And he's just tried to stick to his boxing, chip away, always be aggressive, always be busy, and always stay safe. And he's done that, trying to be aggressive and still stay safe. It's a difficult thing to do. I think he's done it quite without any effort. I think it's been quite easy for him.
Second fight in 4 weeks as well. We should, I suppose, refresh ourselves. He didn't take much out of himself in a round when he won last time up. But I suppose it's all the training, the build-up, maybe a little bit of nervous tension. You're taking a point off the referee?
Just for holding again, I think.
Oh, lovely uppercut that from Anwar. He's got a good selection of shots, hasn't he? We've seen a nice glimpse of one of the kingpins alongside Jose Ramirez, both winners and defending their respective belts in the last couple of months. Here we go into the final round in that same weight class, and this guy's just starting out. Faizan Anwar, as Barry said, the young Indian southpaw, only 19, 4-0 so far. Little use of the shoulder, might get a warning there for the referee. Traditionally, though, one of the great divisions, Barry, it's been buzzing in recent years. Of course, we've now got Taylor Ramirez, Jack Cattrall looking for his chance, of course. Jose Zepeda in that barn burner against Baranchik. 8 knockdowns just the other weekend as well. He's now put himself into position in the WBC as well. Terence Crawford, of course, formerly in this weight class. Ricky Hatton once upon a time as well.
That's a hugely competitive division, but by the time this kid, if he gets anywhere near that, most of these fighters won't even be. Good uppercut there from Anwar, lovely shot.
He's got the shots, Barry, hasn't he?
He's got a lot. We haven't seen him be tested yet. We haven't seen him take a shot or some guy who's looking to be competitive back. So he could be a different fighter. But what you see so far, he has a lot of good things in his locker.
Yeah, no doubt. Mendoza has not had really anything or nowhere near enough in the locker to test Anwar or ask questions of him. He clipped him with a left hand. I think he might have landed 2 rights. He's exploded into a few of those, but he's been kept in his place, put in his place right from the very first bell. Anwar's boxed with control and authority.
He has been controlled but still constantly being busy. He hasn't just been like controlling behind the jab and doing nothing else. He's been, I wouldn't say he's gone all out for the stoppage, but he's trying to be aggressive throughout. So even though in the last round, letting his hands go. You've set the pace, so it's easier to be busy when you're dictating the pace, of course. But he's still done that, and it's been a decent pace with it. Good shot there. Good little short left hand there from Anwar.
And he's kind of tried to put the icing on the cake, I think, in this sixth round, where he's back to the kind of pressure and intensity we saw through the first 2 rounds. Trying to finish in style, Anwar.
And also, he looks like a lightweight to me, Anwar.
It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. But there's no doubt he's won this one. He's won every round, plus the point taken off from Mendoza is going to be wide on the card. The card's no doubt about that. But a good night's work.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges scored about 60-53 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated, Faizan Anwar.
Probably one of the easier fights that the judges have had to score in some while, and a clear wide margin win for Faizan Anwar.